All right. Hello. I'm Matt Richards here, and I'm here with.
Sam Sweeten,
Uh,
I'm
we're,
here.
we're doing some commentary here on this match from the top four cut at Las Vegas Open, Imperial Assault Nationals. Um, this is a match between myself, Matt, and Kenny Brown. Kenny has the painted figures there on the bottom left. You can see me deploying there in the top right. So this is the top four cut. Um, a couple things about this as I set this up. So first of all, this is an exact mirror match. We're playing here on Propaganda War, if you can't see that. But
Even just the command cards,
yes,
right?
same command cards.
Yeah.
Exact same 40 deployment points. Exact same 15 command cards. Um, the other thing about this too, I'd had kind of a whirlwind of a day. I went 2-2 in the Swiss and was pretty convinced I was not going to make the top cut. And then, because of how the various numbers ended up, I ended up fourth seed playing against first seed Kenny here. A little bit about this list: these are double Weequay Pirate scum lists. Kenny and I and a couple of us from the Utah crew, back when Spectre was kind of the big thing, back in Spectre Bowl 2019, a couple of us were pretty grumpy about it, and we decided to try to find something else that would maybe even kind of try to keep up. We started kind of really seriously looking at these double pirate lists around that time, and we've pretty much been playing them ever since. And now that Spectre has been nerfed a little bit, in my opinion, it feels like a pretty strong contender in the meta right now.
Yeah, I feel like this list is very strong. I feel like it can compete on any map. I remember even when practicing for last Worlds, I remember I was playing Spectre and I was probably winning 75% of the matchups, which was a better win percentage for the other list than like the Vader list or whatever. So this felt like the contender at that time when Spectre was just containing, and now it feels very, very competitive. I feel like its matchup against Spectre is good. I feel like its matchup against Vader is good. I feel like that this list can do a lot of things. And
So the main strength of the list, I feel, is that so you get to use hunter cards, which are but with that, between hunter cards and smuggler cards, you can use both of them, and they're pretty much, you get all the best command cards in the game in your deck, right?
Yep.
And you just have this incredible depth, so that you can make trades.
Yeah.
You can go piece for piece with your opponents, and still sort of come out on top. You've got Java to sort of help you with some point scoring and some card draw situations. Couple things about this mirror match that's really interesting. You'll notice that we remove our different tokens here. There were some weird shenanigans there. I was missing one of my tokens to set up for stuff, and so one was a proxy for a minute. But we both remove posters in the center.
Yep.
I won the initiative role here, so I got to pick the better deployment side. This mirror match is really interesting because it can be very snowbally. It's very much about there are two principles I think that are really important in Imperial Assault, which are like tempo, getting an alpha strike, removing pieces before they can activate and do anything, that kind of thing. And then just resource management. You have a finite number of things that you can do. You have a finite number of actions. You have a finite number of cards. And getting the most efficiency out of those things that you possibly can. And in this mirror match, because everything's the same, so much of it just comes down to positioning.
Yeah.
The poster count is actually going to be really important here. So the way this... Oh, go ahead.
I have a question about the poster counts here. I noticed Kenny removed the Imperial poster that was 2 spaces further from... Well, no, he removed the one that is typically considered harder to get to.
Right.
For his opponents. So I'm curious as to that play. Do you know what his reasoning was?
I don't know. So I think we mostly mirrored our poster grab removal there. So we both removed ones that were in the middle. So I don't know what his specific reasoning was there. I would be interested to hear what he had to say about that. But the poster here are going to be very important because, as I mentioned in the other video in the semis, each time you flip a poster and it stays flipped, that's effectively a 2-point swing. You're taking away 1 point that your opponent would get, and you're gaining 1. And that stays the case until your opponent flips it back. And so much of this matchup is going to come down to who has tempo in terms of controlling posters, who is the upper hand in terms of figures, in terms of resources. Because once one of us ends up slightly behind on that curve, if they end up behind in terms of a trade, they spend more than their opponent does in a particular interaction, then that person is on the back foot, and the other player can exploit that by forcing them to play very riskily in order to try to make up that gap.
Yeah, I think like the key to these mirror matches isn't necessarily like the small die rolls that cause you to spend resources. It's how you force your opponents to pay for those.
Exactly.
So like it's very much about you responding to those small losses that the opponent has and making them pay in blood for every small misstep. So
3-time Imperial Assault World Champion Daniel Taylor has said on several occasions that the thing that he does that makes him so good at Imperial Assault is he waits for his opponent to make a mistake and then he punishes them.
Yeah.
And this match in particular is really going to showcase that particular principle in action. I want to call attention to that Jawa scavenger that I placed on the right side just behind that door.
I really like that position.
That positioning is going to be of pretty critical importance as this game rolls forward. But you'll notice generally Revolt is kind of positioning around terminals, trying to use sightlines, all that kind of standard stuff. In terms of what's in the list, you've got 2 sets of Elite Weequay Pirates on both sides. Like I said, complete mirror match. You've got Onar and Greedo, and then you've got a support package of Jabba the Hutt, Gideon, C-3PO, and then a regular Jawa. And then you've got, for attachments, you have Temporary Alliance, Black Market for card draw, and then Doubt. One of the things that we've talked about that's pretty funny is that Doubt as a card was clearly specifically designed to try to slow down and impact focus ramp. And ultimately what we sort of concluded is that Doubt being in the game makes it so that you kind of just have to triple down on focus instead of doubling down on it.
Yeah, the care package for Nscom has become C-3PO Gideon Jabba, just so you can get enough focus out. And it's actually very good against opponents who don't have Doubt either, just because that's so much extra damage.
Yeah, a lot of why we're running Doubt is to deal with. So it's like, hey, every Imperial list is running Thrawn right now, so they're gonna have tokens you can get rid of.
Yeah.
The deplete to force a reroll into tough luck can be really powerful in terms of just completely negating an attack. So you're almost always going to get utility out of it. But if you come up against any Rebel list that's not Spectre, and if you come up against any Scum list, it's hard to find a more valuable thing you can do with Doubt than remove focus.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you think about the fact that Rebel Care Package has been ubiquitous for so long because C-3PO provides you an activation plus focus for 2 points, and Gideon provides you an activation plus focus and some movement for 3 points.
Yeah.
So if you can remove one of those focuses for a third or a half of those points, that's pretty good.
I would like to mention, I feel like Jabba's in the best spot he's ever been in this particular meta right now. I think Spectre showed us the value of an extra attack when that was very underutilized before. Whenever I've played against Jabba's, I've seen that used quite a bit now.
Yes.
Especially rounds 2, 3, and 4. The later rounds it gets, the more likely that is to be used. Plus, Jabba is very flexible in the way he's a focus engine that can translate to attacks in the late game.
Yeah, he kind of weirdly can become a bit of a closer because he gives you an extra attack towards the end game on a figure that's not otherwise going to take damage, right?
Yeah.
So, and we're kind of talking very generally here because there's a lot of stuff going on in terms of just like positioning games. This is really important.
So that he chose, so that poster that you chose to leave there,
yes,
is interestingly, if you had chose the other one, he wouldn't have been able to flip that with Greedo.
Right, and that is perhaps a mistake that I made here, right? But this makes me pretty nervous because suddenly we finished the round here. Kenny scores 4 points to my 2, which is a decent swing. But more importantly, he's up on tempo in terms of posters.
Yeah.
Right? He has the luxury now to sit back and to kind of force me to make the plays, force me to be proactive. And this list is so good at forcing your opponent to act first and then punishing that action.
Yeah.
You can almost always get more out of the trade by forcing your opponent to act first in that game of chicken.
Yeah.
And by getting that single poster advantage, he's kind of forced me into a difficult situation here.
Yeah, this is the type of list that definitely has second player advantage as opposed to the traditional first player advantage.
Right, because you have so much depth in terms of your attackers, your stuff that you have. So the other thing that's really interesting is that nearly every single game, like literally every other match I've seen played on this Coruscant map, the action happens like either diagonally straight through the middle there between deployments, or it goes up around the left and kind of around that weird blocking terrain.
Up around the statues. The
statues where those 2 posters are in the top left corner.
Yeah, either on the statues or through that middle lane. Yeah.
Yes. You'll notice that this game, actually, most of the action happens on the bottom right corner of the map. And that's never happened any other time I've played this
I
map.
noticed that after I finished my game with JK, I looked over, I'm like, that's a weird place to be fighting over.
We're going to open all the doors.
Yeah.
And our main corridor of attack is going to be that bottom right corner. It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm feeling, as a player on the right, I'm feeling quite a bit of pressure. I'm still trying to focus and ramp up. But I'm thinking, how do I swing that tempo back so that I can have a poster advantage and make up for the points that I lost on that round 1, and that I can pressure Kenny to come forward. We've both done the pretty traditional, like, create a little box with Onar and 3PO and all your Weequays, and then position Greedo a little bit more aggressively so that he can run around and make some plays.
So an interesting thing here I want to note about the posters, because you both took the more central posters that are further away, that poster is the one that Kenny didn't take is very easily accessible to your Jawa. I don't know if that is important later.
Oh, it's super important.
But because he didn't take the one that's slightly further away, that's a very defensible poster for you, not for him.
Yeah, and that is going to be super relevant this round.
Yeah.
So I think that if we were playing this match again, we probably would have taken the opposite posters in the center there.
Yeah.
Because that makes it a little bit harder to contest and flip those. But yeah, you'll see just sort of some positioning games here. So notice this group of Weequays that I'm positioning down there. I'm moving them around to kind of keep my focus tokens organized, clear on the play space there.
Yeah. Because
they're all crowded around that wall. But this activation where I position these Weequays ends up being pretty significant as well. They're all, right now, it's all kind of huddled around my terminal. Position around Onar so that I can take advantage of like the get down. So Kenny goes and opens this door with his Jawa here to kind of open up that line of sight.
Is this the second round?
This is round 2. So this is really interesting. So the Jawa was positioned in front of the other door. I move 2, open that door, and then spend 2 movement points, and suddenly I control both of those posters in the bottom right corner. So I've equalized the poster count now without having to expose my troops to potential fire in the same way that Kenny has on the other side.
Right.
And that's why I highlighted the Jawa positioning in the first round. Without placing the Jawa exactly where he was, that play wouldn't have been possible.
This is why another reason why I like that your deployment zone a little better is because you have more of the flexibility to do that. Like Kenny's Jawa, if he had sent that Jawa up to that door, he would be, like way out there. And
yeah, there's more distance between the door to the central room on his side versus the door to the bottom right. And it also exposes the terminal more to open the door that Kenny has.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So he's positioning his Weequays aggressively over there, hoping to kind of contest that poster situation.
contest the poster. Also, for him, he's probably got to be thinking, oh, look, I have these great lines of sight down on Matt's flank if I open this door.
Yeah, so he's positioning really smartly here, and there's not a lot I can do about that.
Also, that Weequay, because of that one line of blocking terrain there, is actually super protected. Like, even if you came around the center, you can't get a shot on him.
Yeah, no, like, normally you would expect my Greedo and his Weequay there, kind of right on the right side of that door to be able to see each other, but there's terrain that blocks that line of sight.
Yep.
And so either one of them are going to have to progress pretty far into that room. So this is a pretty, if I remember right, this is kind of a big decision point for me. And this is kind of gearing up to the sequence of plays that really shapes the entire rest of this map. So I'm trying to decide what I do about this. I'm hoping to flip at least one more poster here.
Right.
Right?
Because then that equals out the number of points you've gained.
Exactly. Right? And I'm trying to decide how much risk I can embrace. Kenny has his group of Weequays that have already activated that are to the right in that bottom right corner, and then he has another set by his terminal, right? So I use Onar to open this door.
Okay.
Right, and the reason that I do that is that I tried to calculate lines of sight here, and I didn't think that there was a line of sight to my Weequay there. Like I'm looking at this right now, and that Weequay that's hidden, I'm like, oh, Kenny can't see him, right? Maybe he can see Onar, but I think there's yeah. So I change Onar's positioning so that he can't be seen, and I'm pretty convinced that Kenny can't shoot my Weequay at all. And I actually miscalculate there. You're going to see that Kenny takes a shot on that Weequay. He can get a shot. But he has to commit pretty hard for it, and that's kind of this sequence of plays that really swings this entire game.
Yeah, he has to commit it's a pretty sharp shot. He has to commit pretty hard in order to get that angle. Exactly. But he can get
it. So I'm also measuring here. I'm considering this movement because I'm trying to say, like, where does Kenny have to be to see Onar, where he is, right behind that wall? So Kenny's noticed the line of sight that I missed here.
Right.
Which is that if he takes one of those Weequays and he puts him, like, way out in that corner, he can see my hidden Weequay.
Yep.
Right? He has to move 4 spaces to do it. Right? And that ends up being pretty critical. But he's going to go ahead and take this super long range shot. Because of the hidden token, I believe it's like a range 10 shot. Let's look here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, range 10.
So here's an interesting question. He can have the same line of sight, but move forward 1 or 2 spaces, and he's no longer going to be hidden afterwards, and you are, so you would probably expect that you would be able to hit range. So is it worth it, do you think, to push up that 1 or 2 extra spaces if you think you're still going to get shot anyways?
So I think because of the line of sight, he actually can't move further forward.
Oh, okay.
It's like because of how sharp that angle is, he has to be kind of tucked back into this corner.
Okay.
So he's going to take this shot. We talked about this later. At this point, Kenny has tools for the job in hand.
Okay.
But no cards have been played. Nothing has been happened. And this is where it's really important to talk about, like, resources. So a lot of people get really grumpy or really frustrated about On the Lam because it's like, oh, hey, I just made this attack and I burned a resource, right?
Ooh, that's bad range.
Yes. So Kenny misses range on this shot. So
yeah,
he could have played tools for the job here.
Add like a blue.
And add a blue and guaranteed it. And I don't have On the Lam. And he would have just gotten my Weequay for free. But he's worried about spending tools for the job into On the Lam if I have it. And so he sort of goes for the shot without it. And suddenly his Weequay is hanging out there.
Hanging out there. No longer hidden. Easier to hit.
No longer hidden. His other one can't do anything.
Yep.
So he spent a hide and a focus token to try to shoot my Weequay in misses range. And I can shoot right back.
Yeah, these are the margins that you win with the punishment here.
Yes, like literally,
this is the mistake that you can capitalize on.
Yes, and it is such a significant deal that, like, the swing that this creates, allows me to play from such a position of strength for the rest of the game. Like this single interaction, in some ways, is the entire match.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bit embarrassed that it was like, oh, I miscalculated the line of sight and I set this thing up, right? But Kenny also, so I'm taking the shot, that same Weequay that just survived, takes a shot back. Because his Weequay isn't hidden, my range is much safer. I'm shooting at guaranteed range. He plays on the lamb.
Okay.
And scoots. But that is such a good trade for me.
Yeah, you traded a focus and a hidden for his focus hidden and on the lamp.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a huge advantage. And then my Weequay moves back to safety, right? And then this one this was the one that actually got shot at. And I'm like, well, what am I going to do with him? Well, I'm going to flip a poster.
Yeah.
Right? And I decide to go there as opposed to back in the corner because the line of sight is roughly the same, but by doing that, I force him to shoot into the hidden Weequay instead of the one that's no longer hidden.
Right.
So it makes the range a little bit more punishing.
The range is one more punishing, yeah. The small margins where you can win the game.
Right. So
who does he have left? He has Greedo and Onar, but Onar's not making that shot, and Greedo's going to struggle with it. He's going to have to use his surge for accuracy, not damage.
Exactly. So Greedo can't shoot any of my guys without committing super hard and without getting shot first. Right. Oh, I'm still trying to figure out my positioning because positioning is super important, right?
Yeah, it's what this game is built around,
and particularly this mirror match, right? It's like I'm like measuring all these lines of sight because I screwed it up once already. I'm thinking about all these options, but both his Weequays have activated. His Jawa is activated. He has Onar, but Onar does not do well at range.
Nope. Onar wants to be right next to them.
So Onar is just going to double move Kenny's Onar to protect his other Weequays, and now we just kind of have Greedos left, right?
Yeah.
So ending round 2 here, he's lost on the lamb, right?
That's huge.
And he's lost tempo in terms of posters, right? I suddenly have 4-2, and if I remember correctly, it actually switches to 5-1.
Yeah, and
by the end of this round, because I use my Greedo to flip a poster.
Your Greedo can usually get to you have less activation, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so he can't get to flip your poster with his Greedo without leaving his Greedo out to dry.
Exactly. So I end this round not only overcoming my poster disadvantage in the first round, but exceeding it because Kenny was up 4-2 points in the first round. I gain 5 to his 1 in the second round.
Yeah.
So we end up I'm at 7 points to his 2, and he's down on the lamb.
Yeah.
And so suddenly he is on the back foot, and the onus is on him to.
You flip that there.
Yep.
And you can tuck back right there. Yep.
And that's super safe because of
only Greedo can shoot him. If Greedo shoots him, he gets shot back.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
And because of where they're positioning, it allows me to kind of aggressively threaten around the other side.
Yeah.
But suddenly I can play really defensive and force Kenny to have to come to me in order to try and regain the tempo and the resource advantage that he's lost.
Yeah.
Right. And it's kind of crazy in some ways that so much of that can swing out from like the loss of a single action economy.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Like he lost an action, a focus.
Part of that, it's a mental state too.
Yes.
Like as soon as Kenny realizes, man, like I burnt a focus and a hidden for nothing, and he got my lamb for the same thing. Like it puts Kenny in the mental state of I'm behind, and it makes him maybe take risks that he doesn't have to. I don't know. I haven't seen what happens in this game, but I know for me that like when you're behind, that's when decision making gets that much harder.
Yeah, especially because those leads can snowball so quickly.
Yeah.
And so you increasingly are focused on the sooner that I can do something to correct this, the better.
Yeah.
Right? And so that puts a lot of pressure on every single action that you're taking. Right? So now we're just doing end around stuff, black market.
Each get your card.
Each get our cards. I wish we'd done a better job here of showing what cards get revealed at what times. I believe that at the end of this round is when I finally draw into my On the Lam.
Okay.
Which then opens up some opportunities in terms of aggressive plays that I can make.
Yeah, now you can make those plays that that can swing things in your favor when they're already in your favor. Like, interestingly, none of those posters that's like the only one that Kenny can reasonably flip and maybe get back to safety is the one in that center room on the bottom.
Yeah,
All the others are if he
requires such a positioning commitment in order to flip.
Or even if he opens up that door and flips one, all of a sudden his figures are open to your attack.
So, and you'll notice over the course of this next round that most of the conflict is going to happen along that hallway on the right. Kenny's going to open that door, and we're going to kind of shoot along that corridor, which, like I said, never happens on this map.
Yeah. So he goes with the Weequays?
He goes with the Weequays because he can open the door and shoot. Right? Part of why I positioned Onar where I did was that it made it impossible. Like, it forced him to either shoot at Onar, who he wouldn't be able to kill, or the Jawa, who's kind of worthless. He wouldn't be able to remove a Weequay.
So he played tools there.
Yeah, if he played tools there, I believe he's just going for Onar.
Okay.
He's just going for the throat, trying to remove that figure.
Yep.
Right?
So he rolls that's like 9 damage coming at him?
Super reasonable.
Yeah, that's very solid.
Yeah, he just takes 9, and I can't even use Get Down because he has the Surge to pierce.
Yeah.
So Onar just takes 9 damage, right? Which is totally reasonable.
And then Kenny's got to be feeling like, oh, this Weequay's not focused. If that Weequay was focused, he's got to be thinking, oh, I can kill it.
Absolutely. Or if even if it's not, like, I don't remember if Onar dies here or not. I feel like I remember him not dying.
I think Onar lived with Get Down. Onar doesn't die here.
Yeah.
If Kenny has Assassinate or even positioning, let's see. What's that damage? That's did you play Tough Luck or something?
I believe that I tough.
I think you tough because I think he was dead there. I was looking at the map.
Tough Luck.
Got it.
That die with the Surge on it.
Got it. So that's only 4.
Yep.
Yep. So that'll keep him alive.
Exactly. Because of the hidden.
Yeah.
I could Get Down for that and take 2, and that saves Onar's life, right?
Yep.
And that's the power of that, like, if you draw Tough Luck, which is that 1-cost card that if you're running Weequays, you want to be playing anyway, because there's so many forced rerolls going on.
Yeah.
And then you can also just say, like, oh yeah, that attack that was going to kill my guy, now it doesn't.
One of the amazing things with this command card deck is it has a lot of the similar effects. Like Element and Heightened and Tough Luck all function very similarly. You're playing a lot of cards and tools and Assassinate and even Positioning Advantage to some extent. You're playing lots of similar effects that gives lots of consistency even when you don't draw everything.
Right. Exactly. So, and I believe Kenny played Strength in Numbers here, which is why he's going with Greedo.
Okay.
And he's trying to finish off Onar.
Yep.
Before I can activate with him. And I think he's successful, but Onar at least gets to shoot back.
Right. It is a range 3 shot with Onar, which, unless he really high rolls the blue die, means his surges are pretty useless.
He might have totally reconsidered that line of play here.
Okay.
I think he was looking at that and he was like, you know what? Oh, I'm not sure. We'll find out. I feel like I remember him taking the shot.
Like, it allows you to... It's going to be hard for... Oh, yeah, I like this farther shot better.
Yeah, he's trying to figure out how far away. We're figuring out lines of sight here.
Yeah, he wants to get as far away as possible so that if you do get the 5 accuracy on the blue dice, that you still can't spend your surges.
Yes. So I had a game earlier in the day during the Swiss where I played tools for the job on Onar without counting my range out and added a red die, and then I missed... It was a range 4 shot. And I missed range.
If you just put a green, it would have been guaranteed range.
Exactly. And it cost me that whole... That was the other game that I lost in the Swiss. So
that was with JK?
That was against JK.
Yeah.
And so now I'm being pretty thoughtful about, okay, let's look at range. Let's think about this because Onar is going to get to shoot first. And this is pretty interesting because... And it's important to recognize how much of this snowballed out of the doubt Tough Luck play, right? Without that play, Onar is just dead. And Kenny can save Strength in Numbers for a later point in time.
Yeah,
but now
Greedo can stay safe.
But now he's forced to use Greedo and play Strength in Numbers to try to finish Onar before he can activate and run away.
Yeah,
which
that's
then
a really
gives
good point.
Onar a free attack, right?
then you still get your some value out of Onar. Yeah, that's really huge.
And it's like, again, like, Dow plus Tough Luck is not always going to provide that kind of value.
Yeah.
But it occasionally can do that, and the individual pieces do other stuff too.
Exactly. Basically, when evaluating those types of cards, is how good is Doubt in its worst case scenario? Still pretty good. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Seems like there's a lot of thinking about this. I think I might have been considering about what do I play. Oh, what happened here is I played Element of Surprise.
Oh.
So Greedo rolls up to attack Onar, and because Onar didn't have line of sight to him at the beginning of Greedo's activation, I get to play Element.
This kills him.
Which kills him.
Yeah, I was just like, that roll kills him because you got the accuracy.
So this is exactly that situation where
That's a great trade for you.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
It's that pressure that Kenny feels from being on the back foot, continuing to stack up.
Yeah.
So Greedo's still going to shoot and kill Onar,
Right.
But I've traded Onar for 3 attacks,
Yeah.
and
And
Greedo's
strength.
death, right?
Did you play Assassinate there?
I think I have to assassinate there in order to kill Greedo. Because I can't surge for the damage because I lose the range in order to make the shot.
You had 5 accuracy. He was only 3 spaces away.
I think I rolled the 2
Oh, you rolled the
range
2 on the blue? Okay.
not the 5.
It was kind of...
Yeah, it was hard to see there.
yeah.
But yeah, so I felt a little bit bad about it, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, you play Assassinate there to kill Greedo.
Yeah, I think you do it anyways, yeah.
Yeah. And so at this point, right, like, I've spent Assassinate, but he's down Lamb. He's lost his kind of Alpha Strike option for the top of the round. He's lost Greedo. And Kenny is just playing so much from the back foot here. And
He's getting 1 point round to your 5?
Yeah.
Like, he has to kill a full extra figure every round just to stay at parity.
Exactly. And if he wants to flip posters, then he's sacrificing attack actions to do that and exposing his dudes to range attacks because all the doors are open now.
Yeah. And he's gone with his Weequays, interesting here. You haven't gone with yours, so your Jawa can move out of the way and take those shots.
Exactly.
And let your Weequays take the shots.
Yep. And I think that's exactly what happens here. I'm sort of like, sure. I move the Jawa and take a shot at the Weequay because I'm under no pressure to do anything else.
Yeah.
His activations that he has left are his Jawa, his 3PO, his Jabba, his Gideon, and his other Weequays by his terminal.
Yeah, they're not going to do
And
much.
they're not in range to do anything. They can't, and I believe at this point I also have On the Lamb in hand. So like there's that one Weequay, that's my leftmost one, that he could reach out and shoot, but I could just Lamb away and then punish that, right? As I recall, the Jawa does 0 damage here.
It's a regular Jawa. If you get 1 or 2 damage, you're happy.
Yeah.
And if you get 0, you're like,
he was just moving out of the way. So he just so and then Kenny responds by double moving his Jawa to block line of sight.
Right.
Which is very smart. It forces me to spend actions to remove a meaningless figure, right?
Yep.
At this point I'm asking him, okay, where are your focus tokens? Where are your hidden tokens? Because he keeps them
on his
cards.
Okay, yeah, because I have no idea where his focus and hiddens are.
Yep. So I'm sort of saying I have On the Lamb in hand. I have the option to move a Weequay up and Alpha Strike one of his focused Weequays.
Yeah.
Right.
He's burnt his Lamb, so you feel very confident in doing
Exactly.
that.
I have Lamb in hand, so I can go up here.
He's got to know that, too, as soon as you make this move.
Yeah. Worst case scenario, I'm going to deal damage to his Weequay, and then mine's going to skate away for free.
Yep.
I believe the situation here is I kill a Weequay.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a focus hidden shot.
Yeah.
With tools, it looks like. You have a red dice?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just dead Weequay. Like,
he rolls the 3 block, and it doesn't even matter, right? Because I can force a reroll.
You can force a reroll,
3, 4,
you can
5,
pierce
6,
1,
7.
you have...
I have 9 damage,
+2.
pierce 1.
Yeah, he's still dead. You don't even need to do anything.
And so he loses a Weequay that hasn't
activated.
that focused and hid, but
hidden.
hasn't activated this round.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can see just how much of this spun out from that single, interaction where I came out ahead a single command card.
Yeah. So what with Greedo, with your Greedo here, I'm curious. He seems to be kind of far out of the action. Like he doesn't really seem to have a good shot this round. What are your thoughts on him at this point? Is he just someone you're gonna have to reposition, or is he becoming a poster guy?
So that spot there is a pretty safe one for Greedo. I like putting in there because he can see everywhere. He can see a lot of different places.
Right.
And there are no spots on the board where people can see him where he can't see back.
Right.
So it's a really solid, like, aggressive positioning for him. And I believe I put him there.
I mean, I like that spot generally.
Yeah.
Just in this board state, it seems he's out of the way.
Yeah, at this point, he's a pretty low priority figure. I don't even know that I'm thinking about that all that much yet.
Okay.
I'm sort of saying, like, how do I capitalize on my other figures that can see stuff, that can shoot at things? You notice I just removed a Jawa with a Weequay.
Yeah.
Right? And so Kenny's positioned his Onar really intelligently behind his Weequay so he can lend the get down.
Yeah.
Along that corridor on the right side. Without me being able to shoot at Onar to remove him.
Right.
Yeah, so at this point, I'm sort of looking at, like, I'm going to play through my attack options as they are available to remove figures. And then I'll kind of look at, okay, what do I have in terms of support, in terms of positioning, all that stuff. I believe I considered for a while using Greedo with his, like, double move of 10 to go up to flip that last poster. But it just kind of felt unnecessary.
Yeah.
And I don't remember exactly what happens with him here, like, but he's just kind of an extra piece that I can. A large part of what's helpful about him is I'm holding him back to respond to something in case Kenny pushes forward. But you see, like, I activate Jabba here. I'm just
focus up. Draw
I'm just
card.
prepping for the next round.
Yeah.
Right.
You still have these Weequays that we can just go last and hopefully pop one of Kenny's Weequays who are sitting there by this corridor.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, like, I have killed 2 of his figures, and I have lost only 1. I have a big poster advantage. Kenny's going to shoot at my Weequay here, and he's going to on the lamb to safety.
Yeah.
Right. Right back to where he came from, if I remember correctly.
Makes sense. Yeah, Kenny gets a solid roll that with positioning kills you, and you're like, yep, peace.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just pretty interesting how much of this swings on these little choices that then snowball to create a different state. I'm not sure what the delay is here. I might be trying to think through whether I can get away without playing on the lamb here. But eventually I'm just sort of like, you know what? It's not worth the risk.
Yeah. It's like, does he have anything that adds an extra damage?
I think about being really cheeky and moving to the poster to flip it. I have played against Kenny before where he has done that with, like, an Alliance Smuggler when he was already way ahead. It was like, oh, I on the lamb and then move here and, like, score this objective point situation, and because it only takes me 1 movement point to get out of line of sight.
Right.
But ultimately, I'm sort of like, you know what? I don't have to take risks at this point. Yeah. I can play super defensively. I can force him to come to the posters or to come to me, and then I can punish.
Right. So he puts his Weequay in that safe spot there. The Weequay is going to struggle to get attacks next round.
Yeah, I think that he's just kind of trying to make the best of a bad situation there.
Yeah.
Maybe that Weequay has an option to flip a poster.
Go up by the statues, take a long shot down that corridor.
Yeah. There's actually the line of sight down the corridor kind of around that corner is actually pretty generous.
Right.
Right? Like, the Weequay would be able, his Weequay there on the left hallway would be able to shoot mine that's just on the land pretty easily.
Yeah.
But I'm also not particularly worried about it. Initiative is swinging my way. I don't think we've played Take Initiative or negation.
You guys are both down to like 2 or 3 cards left in your deck, so you're feeling.
You know what? I might have missed it. I think Kenny, because I believe this is round 3.
Yeah.
And so I believe Kenny played Take Initiative this round.
Oh, okay.
Which is why he has it currently.
Got it.
And that's why he was able to kind of take the Alpha Strike to try to open the door and act first. Right? And because that threat's gone, I know that I get to act first. And in the next round.
Yeah. And he's just so far on the back foot here that you're trying to think through, like, what are his plays, and he doesn't really have many good options at all.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I really enjoy about playing this list is that you spend so much time thinking about your opponent.
Yeah.
Like, I think that, like, Spectre Sal is a list that very much has, like, this is my game plan, and I'm going to do my game plan, and I'm going to try to force them to stop me.
Yep.
And playing this kind of a hunter list very much feels like you're thinking the opposite. You're thinking a lot about your opponent's game plans. What are they going to try to do? What are their outs? And how can I prevent that from happening, right?
Yeah.
I
even think with Spectre Cell that's something that's important to do. Like, just knowing, thinking of your opponent's game plan is, I think, critical for high-level play.
Absolutely.
Just being able to anticipate what they're wanting to do and being able to prevent that is just so crucial.
Absolutely. And I think that because I'm in such a strong position at this point, I'm not even worried or thinking too much about how do I close out this game and win.
Yeah.
I'm primarily thinking, like, my opponent has very few outs to win at this point.
I mean, you literally win by doing nothing.
Yeah, how do I box him out of that, right?
Right.
How do I make it as hard as possible for him to come back?
Yeah.
So his Onar, he has to play aggressively at this point.
Yeah.
Because his option is to play aggressively and risk it and maybe win, or just to lose very slowly, right?
So he doesn't even take an attack there, does he? He just rushes?
He moves
and then rushes?
I believe that he does to the limit here.
Okay.
So, because Onar has this cheeky thing that he can do where he can move and then rush, play to the limit, and then attack.
Yeah.
It's a little bit risky because if they negate your to the limit, then you've moved and rushed, and then you don't get to do anything.
Yeah. But he knows you don't have it because he played take earlier in the round.
Exactly. Right?
Yeah.
And so he gets, I believe he just removes a focused hidden Weequay there, right?
That is a great play for him.
Yeah.
That's step one to the comeback, but that's not the comeback.
Exactly. However, it does mean that his Onar is positioned very aggressively. It means that I get that going into the next round where I have initiative, I have very safe attacks into that figure.
Yep.
Greedo hasn't gone this round yet.
Yep.
And so he can do some stuff that way. And it's kind of that same thing where because I've of the way that I've positioned his aggressive play backwards gives me additional opportunities. So that set of Weequays hadn't even activated this round.
Right.
I was sort of sitting on that, looking for the opportunity to make plays elsewhere. So I lost an activation, which I think is part of what paid off there. But the other one is focused hidden and gets to shoot an Onar now.
Right. I probably would have done the same thing of you and to the same result. Like, I was thinking, your focused Weequays just go at the end of the round and alpha strike twice, end around the top around,
Yeah. And I think I'm trying to decide here whether I go for a long range shot on one of the Weequays to just try to kill them outright, or whether I just take the safe shot onto Onar. And I think that, and I don't remember, I think that what I decided is just to go for Onar here because I can then retreat very safely. He doesn't have the defensive die.
Onar's in a much more threatening position to you, too.
Exactly. And the only targets that his Weequays have right now are either my Jawa or this very long shot on the Gideon. Yeah. And I can position my Weequays back towards my terminal so that his Weequays can't even see them because of that pit in the floor there.
Yeah.
So
interestingly, your Greedo can now get a free shot on Onar.
Yeah, exactly. I can't remember if 3PO's gone or not. I might have been trying to, explicitly trying to set that up. Yes, that's right. I moved the Weequay out of the way so that Greedo can shoot at Onar without getting shot first.
Right.
Yeah. And that turns out to be pretty critical.
Taking a look at his discard pile here, it looks like.
Yep. It's always a useful thing to do pointing back to that earlier point about thinking about your opponent's options.
Yeah.
Right.
I think most games I ask about the discard pile at least once.
Yeah.
Part of it is Most lists, I will be able to accurately say at least 14 of their 15 cards.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there's a relatively small pool of cards that consistently see competitive play.
Yeah.
Occasionally your opponent can surprise you, but usually that means that they're running something that's not quite as effective as the top tier stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit easier to roll with those punches. But I think I'm sort of thinking about looking for, like, take initiative the next round, looking at what hunter cards have been expended. But yeah, Greedo takes the shot into Onar here.
Great shot.
I think that the get down blocks the surge, but that's still 6 damage.
That's still 6 damage, yeah.
Right.
It puts him at 12.
Yep.
Yeah, that's...
And I have initiative, and so Greedo's just going to kill him at the top of the round.
Right.
And I'm trying to think about what to do with Greedo's last movement point. I'm thinking a lot about this because Greedo's in a pretty important position where he can see around that corner. So if I want my Weequays to get, like, maximum options to shoot into that room, I want to step Greedo back, but ultimately I decide, Greedo's probably going first anyway, and he needs to be in that spot if he's gonna get the free shot.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. If you looked at this board just from here, you'd say, oh, like, figures are pretty even. Like, you have a Greedo and a Jawa to his Onar. But there's all these little advantages that you couldn't tell by just looking at this board state that really, like, hey, like, things really are in your favor here.
Right. Yeah, in terms of cards spent, in terms of the state of the posters, it looks like he just cleared out. He took a long-range shot with his... It must have been a Jawa order hit to remove my Jawa.
Right. And then he spent those 2 movement points to flip the poster.
Yes, exactly. And so that equalizes it somewhat, but I'm still ahead 4-2.
Right.
Right. So yeah, I focus up Greedo here at the end of the round with 3PO, I believe. And then we're just kind of doing end-around stuff, right? Drawing cards, black market.
It looks like you'll have your entire deck here.
Yes, exactly. So that's the crazy thing is that if you get your terminal, right? If you have black market, you start with 3 cards, right? And at the end of each round, you're going to draw 3. So if you hit planning in the first round or 2, which I believe that I have, you draw, I believe, 14 of your 15 cards by the top of round 4.
Yep.
Right.
That's why part of my plan with Spectres denied them their terminal, because that usually results in 3 cards they don't see during the game.
Exactly. Right.
That's 3 less resources.
Yep. And sometimes, like, and if you watch your semi against Jerem, those 3 cards can be a big deal.
Yes.
Right. So yeah, we're setting up here. Initiative is going to swing back my way. We're doing all our black market.
Putting the damage on Java, you reveal your card. Can't tell what that is.
Yep. Doubting each other's stuff.
Right.
We might have made a mistake there because I saw myself doubt something, but I remembered Tough Luck removing a die earlier. That might have been that he re-rolled his Weequay attack die and then I Tough Lucked it.
Yeah. That makes sense. I was thinking he rolled a single surge or something. It would make sense that he would re-roll it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense. One of the things that is hard about looking at this map on these things is it's really hard to tell where the difficult terrain is.
Yeah, it's hard to tell
the blocked terrain is.
where the lines that block line of sight because of the colors and the glare and the angle of stuff. Yeah. But I imagine, like, I hope that if you're watching this, you're familiar enough with the map that you have a sense for that. If not, like, you can find that information online and cross-reference it if you're really worried about it. And I think at this point, so I actually go with the Weequays here. I'm going for Onar.
Okay, doesn't really matter.
It's like Onar needs like 3 damage.
Yeah,
right.
He's dead.
I activate the purple Weequay because his buddy is up there, and I have the option to either shoot at his try and shoot his Weequay, but really I just move mine out of threat range.
Yeah.
Right?
Sticking by that terminal.
Because now suddenly his Weequay that's on the left side there can't shoot anybody. Right?
Yeah.
and my Weequay hides and kind of preps for a future round as necessary. I actually put him in front because his Weequay can see down that line of 3 Weequays standing back to back behind 3PO there. And so I put him in front because I'm like, you know what, he's already activated. That one in the middle is the one that hasn't activated yet.
He's hidden.
He has the 3PO evade. And so I can force him to attack that one if he's going to attack anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
So yeah, but like you said, like you look at this board and the figures that are on the table, and it's like the only difference is that I have Greedo and he doesn't.
Yep.
Which doesn't feel like that huge of a lead. But in terms of resources spent, Kenny is just in such a rough place. Yeah. I don't know what the exact points total is at this point, but I believe I'm sure that Celebration has been played. I believe that I'm up by somewhere in the range of 6 to 10 points. Yeah. Right.
You got to be like with all the posters. You got to be like, oh, I only need to kill like 2 more figures and I win.
I know that I'm 6 points ahead just from posters, and then an extra 4 points ahead from 5 with Java from Greedo. So there's 11 points there. And depending on how, I don't remember how the celebrations panned out.
And the black markets.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's somewhere about 10 points ahead. And then I also just have a tempo advantage. Yeah. Right? Like, he can't really do anything. So,
man, you get to play a primary target on one of his Weekways?
I don't. So I try to, but Java is on the board. His highest cost figure. So I tried to play primary target here thinking his Weequay is going to do it. But they're not, right?
Sure.
So he shoots. I think he makes range here because Weekways are nuts, right? They have 2 built in. So I reroll. Yeah. Greedo takes 2 damage, but I'm fine to take that trade in order to get the shot here, right? I believe because my Greedo's focused.
Okay.
And he has a really decent chance of just maybe he's not focused. No, I wouldn't have played primary if he wasn't focused. Right.
He's got to search for accuracy here?
Yeah. So this attack, I think, actually ends up not panning out in my favor at all.
Looks like you do like 2 damage.
Yeah, I think I take 2 damage for it, and I deal 2 damage. So it's I mean, it's an even trade, but at this point, I guess an even trade is fine for me.
Right. Yeah.
And so I probably have some kind of resources that I'm thinking about playing here. I believe Assassin. I've already played my Assassinate.
Yeah. So you have like what? You have like a heightened left?
Maybe a heightened. Maybe a positioning advantage.
Sure.
I don't believe either of those have hit the table yet.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about where to put Greedo here, and ultimately decide to go there.
Debating how to like block your Weekways here.
Exactly. It's sort of like so. But my main thought is I'm even thinking about positioning him more aggressively, I guess. But I think I'm trying to use Greedo to block line of sight to that other purple Weequay back behind.
Yeah.
To see if I leave him forward. Because then, like, worst case scenario, he's going to shoot at my Greedo and he'll get to shoot back. So I'm thinking about that. If I remember correctly, I just decided to go back next to 3PO to get that. Yeah, here it goes. That extra evade. Because it's not worth the... I think that I can't actually block the line of sight the way that I would like to.
Yeah. Kenny can't hide and shoot anyways, so that extra evade does a lot.
Exactly. If I'm out there instead with Greedo, he can hide and then shoot.
Yep.
Which really
the damage up. The damage swing by being next to 3PO is significant there.
Right. And now Kenny has to kind of figure out how do I make attacks, and that pit actually makes it pretty tough.
Yep.
In terms of getting range to a reasonable place, right?
Yeah, so, because he can only realistically move forward 1 space with that front Weequay when he would like to move 2 to get that extra accuracy, but he can't because of that hit.
And so he's trying to decide, like, what do I do here? Do I flip posters? I don't know what the focus situation is. I'm so used to keeping all my, like, condition tokens on the board next to the figures, which, like, clutters up the game space and I know, like, annoys some people. But I find it much more readable in play than what Kenny prefers, where he's keeping his tokens on the card. And I'm fine with it. I just make Kenny tell me every single time I have a question about it where his tokens are and how it matters, right?
No, I don't have many tokens to place on the board.
Yep, you just got those power tokens and
yeah. Typically with unique figures, I put stuff on my cards, and at least when I play, and then with my groups, I put it on the figures.
Yeah, I have done that too, and I think that I mostly have kind of, I mean, I do a mix of some of that.
Sure,
but I.
So it looks like he just flipped a poster and moved it back.
Yep. Yeah, he's sort of like, I can't kill anything. He doesn't feel like he has an option because of what 3PO is providing there and the difficulty of range. It looks like he's taken one attack.
Okay.
On Greedo.
So it's interesting that he chose to use that back Weequay to make the shot. If he'd used the front Weequay to make the shot, the front Weequay can make the shot and get back to safety.
I think the front Weequay may be damaged. So I think he might have taken 2 damage from like the Jawa or something.
Even that the front Weequay can move up 1 space, have the exact same shot, and then still move back 2, and then not be shot at. He can still get back to where he is. That second Weequay is still, you're gonna have a shot at him now. And if he had switched those, he could have made it so you wouldn't have a shot at either.
So I think the thing here is he's trying to kill Greedo. So I just rolled my attack dice for Greedo to shoot back.
Right.
If he had done that with the other Weequay, which was damaged, he's probably trading that figure.
Yeah.
Whereas in this case,
that makes more sense. Yeah.
I'm looking at dice sides to decide about, do I re-roll that single surge? What are the odds of doing better? Must be a Weequay that he attacked. No, because I've got the +1 damage there.
Yeah, you got the +1 damage.
I'm not sure why I'm looking at dice because I don't know where I would be getting a re-roll from.
I mean, you have 5 damage coming at him.
Yeah.
So I guess this guy lives by like 1 or 2, and then your guy dies. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I lose Greedo there, but Greedo gets out some reasonable damage.
But now his Weequay has 1 or 2 health left, and you still have that blue guy who hasn't gone that can go and finish him off.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So to your point earlier, if he'd attacked with the other Weequay, then he could have positioned the one that was damaged a little bit more safely, and perhaps wouldn't have lost on this round.
Right.
Right. But again,
But if you do that, you can't attack Greedo. You have to go for the other Weequay.
Exactly. So yeah, looking at the plastic, it's exactly even 3 Weequays.
Yeah.
And 3 support figures on each side of the board. Right?
Yeah. Posters at this point are even?
Posters at this point are even, but in terms of future scoring, but that past advantage from scoring is still. And at this point, I wish we had tracked points a little bit more relevantly here, because I'm getting close to 40 at this point, I believe.
Yeah, like you got to be after the end of this round, like kill a Weequay and you win or something.
Yeah, at this point, I'm planning for how do I swing into a victory next round, right?
Right.
So Kenny double moves his 3PO there just for the evade bonus.
Makes sense.
Because he knows I'm just looking to kill a figure, right?
Yep, kill a figure in game.
One of the things that's kind of interesting about those Weequays is because their reinforced cost is 4, they're worth 5 points each to kill them if you have Java.
Yeah.
And so that's really
they are bags of points.
Weequays are they might be the best deployment in the game in terms of the cost for efficiency and all the stuff they can do, right? There's a million different ways you could argue that particular point. But literally the only downside they have is that they're worth more points to your opponent than you paid to bring them.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm taking this I'm looking at this shot for this final Weequay that I have to activate.
You're going to focus it up with Gideon first.
Yep. And that's the thing that's really interesting about all of this, right? Is that I think I just go with 3PO here to focus him is what ends up happening.
Sure.
So we both have a Weequay left, but mine can actually do something here.
Yeah.
Mine has a shot that he can take.
And his guy's like 1 or 2 health left.
Yeah.
From that Greedo shot. Yeah. Oh, Kenny still has his other Weequay, doesn't he?
Yeah, he still has that one, and so.
But he can't do anything meaningful with that Weequay.
So he can see the one Weequay that's hidden there, but he's not hidden. I think the range is pretty reasonable, actually.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yep.
8.
So, yeah, that's super reasonable for a Weequay, right? So there's
8,
also
9,
the 3PO evade, and he's full health, right?
Yep. 9 with the 3PO evade actually gets a little trickier.
Right.
He's not focused, is he?
I forget exact. I'm sure he's focused with Gideon and Java around, but he's not hidden.
Yeah.
And I forget exactly which of his attack resources have been spent. I know Tools has been spent.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure Assassinate has been spent as well on Kenny's part.
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm. I can't remember exactly.
We'll see what he decides to do with this final attack here. But I think it's I think at this point it's going to be pretty tough for him to one-shot
anything, yeah.
Anything. And so instead of taking the attack there at long range,
yeah,
because I believe that it's because I have taken initiative,
and he's already
played negation.
Got it.
And so I just double move to tee up.
Oh, he's gonna try and go for your focus guy now.
Nope.
No, he's just moving.
So he moves aggressively.
Yeah.
Right, to reduce the range there, which makes sense, right? He's got to kill stuff.
Yeah.
I think the other piece of me, I think I need to kill 2 figures next round.
Okay.
And so what I need to be able to do is activate my set of Weequays that are backed by 3PO and kill something and then have the option to follow up.
Got it.
Right, so I need to kill 3PO. It might be that here's what it is. I only need to kill 3PO to win, and I have heightened reflexes.
Oh, okay.
Or element or something like that. So I'm just positioning to score the last 3 points that I need.
Yeah.
At the top of the round.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Because you just need those very few points. Looks like he does one shot that Weequay.
Yep. Which, I must have miscalculated earlier in terms of what resources he has left.
He must have played something because that roll doesn't.
Oh, I have Jabba. That's why I double move. So I double move the Weequay because Jabba hasn't activated yet.
Got it.
So and that just removes any problems with range.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Jabba orders the hit onto the Weequay.
Weequay dies.
I think if I remember right now, I need to kill a Weequay and then 3PO.
Sure.
And so I position that way in order to maximize the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
It might be that I don't actually kill him here. Kenny's thinking about something. I'm showing 7 damage to his 1 block. So he might be looking at a doubt deplete play here to force me to reroll something, probably my surge die.
Yeah.
But as I recall, I think this is the point. Yep. So he's depleting doubt to force me to reroll. And I get, And then at that point, Kenny knows he concedes because he knows he can't beat me on the tempo play here.
Yeah.
So, like I think I said this before we recorded, but this game was a really interesting and a really enjoyable one for me to play. It's one of my fondest memories from playing hundreds of games of Imperial Assault, just because the positioning games matter so much.
Right.
And so much of it is about anticipating, trading resources, thinking about stuff. Maybe Kenny didn't concede here and I'm just crazy. I used the 2 movement points from the order hit to flip a poster.
Okay, yep.
Right? Those kinds of things are pretty funny. Mm-hmm. Right. So...
But it's essentially over
essentially over at this point because I believe that I have some kind of defense die mitigation in hand and I'll be able to take initiative. And I believe that I played to the limit there so that Jabba would focus up the Weequay.
Got it.
So, but this is essentially over just because of that points advantage. And it's interesting because one of the things I've said a lot is I love objective play in Imperial Assault. I love scoring points from the map and thinking about those options. And this game so very much swung on the poster advantage, right?
Yeah.
It was the control of the objectives in this game really dictated who was going to be able to do what and what plays were available. I think at this point I've realized that I've won because of all the options that I have in hand. But we're still playing it. I guess I don't have to take initiative.
Okay. No. Heightened?
I think I definitely show him heightened in hand. And so I might be saying, hey, even if you kill that Weequay, my other one can move 4 and make a shot at guaranteed range and kill 3PO. Right?
Okay, yeah.
Like he was thinking about his outs, and he was like, "You've won, right?" And we kind of talked it through. But
Yeah.
yeah, just overall, really, really interesting game in terms of the importance of objective control, the importance of positioning, these like small decision points that then snowball into really significant ones.
Yeah, it was a really fun game to watch.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining me, Sam.
For sure.
And hopefully we will hear from you guys in the other 2 videos we've done commentary for.
Yep. See you all later.
See ya.